first consultation, you had explained to me how my body would change over the next 6 months. And you were right. You were right to the last T. Honestly, I couldn't believe myself after the program finished that you were so accurate, that the information is so bloody accurate. However, in January, I don't remember when, but sometime in January, and thank you, YouTube, honestly, I bumped into Shamiz's video. And here was this guy I saw who showed me his results of a colonoscopy, and he showed me his image of when he had been cured, and he was all vibrant and shiny and full of energy, and I hadn't seen those years in 15 long years, that feeling. And I couldn't believe it. I'll tell you honestly, when I saw his video for the first time, I thought he's just somebody else who's trying to, become popular. And I said, it's really sad that he's doing this,
Yeah.
just to get popular. But I'll tell you, you're so desperate that you want to believe,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I saw, and in one of his videos, he talked about Dr. David Klein's book. The minute I saw that, I went onto David Klein's website, I read a little bit about him, and I went on to Amazon and I ordered my book. You just want to do whatever you can. But uh, at the back of my mind, I kept thinking, well, if this person has been able to go through this, he's learned something and he's willing to share that.
Yeah.
Right? And I haven't seen anybody who's willing to do that. And that is the reason why I reached out to him. I said, I have nothing to lose. Right? I mean, the worst case is going to be he won't respond. He won't entertain me, whatever. So I reached out to him and, touch wood, he responded and we had an initial long conversation. And I kept quiet during the entire call because I wanted to hear, what he had, whether it was genuinely ulcerative colitis or something else. Because in 15 years,
you would know, because
that's what
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. In 15 years, you know what ulcerative colitis is.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go wrong, man. You have it. You're living with it, right? I mean, I've had accidents all over the world, I should say. So, but when I heard his story, it was exactly what I went through, and I couldn't believe it that this guy was living, free of this situation. So, I obviously asked him a lot of questions, and he told me about this program. And that's when I believe that I got connected to you, and we had that first 30-minute consultation. And I'll tell you what, I was sold at that time because I knew that while I had access to the same information that you now had through David Klein's book, but you've had experience with a lot of other people who've had this situation, and that's an icing on the cake, because for me to be able to have access to all of that experience and then go through that with somebody really being there all the time, for me not to feel lonely in this journey, was something that I just couldn't believe. It was just too much for me to take in at that time, that, hey, I have a bunch of guys who are willing to help me get through this, and they've done this for so many other people. So if there is a situation that how do I say this? If I get into, and I'm not sure, I know that I can call these guys and they have access to, that experience. And they'll be able to, tell me that it's either okay or, there's something that I'm not really doing right.
Yeah.
And so I was sold from that point onwards. And that's when I really took on the program. And I remember the date. It's the 6th of Feb. I don't know what date it is today. I've stopped, keeping track of time.
2nd of October today.
I'll tell you, man, I wish, and I seriously wish that I had done this maybe 14 years ago, if not 15. I would have saved those 14 years of my life Not that I haven't had a great time. I got married in between. I had kids, and so no regrets.
Hmm.
However, and this information has been available all that time.
Hmm.
I'm not sure when Dr. David Klein wrote the book, when he did the
Hmm.
first edition, but I believe that that information has been there at least for the last 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
I just did not have access to it, and
Hmm.
that's a pity. So anybody who's watching this today, if he does not join this program, I can tell you, man, that is the saddest thing. It is a miracle. I mean, I can't even express, I don't have words to express to you the change that this has brought into my life. And I'll tell you, I'm going to go ahead and say this as well, that it is not just people with ulcerative colitis who should do this.
Hmm.
It, I mean, we are forced to do it. We're forced to look at this a lot more seriously. However, if you're a very healthy human being as well,
Hmm.
and you're eating the sad diet, so to speak, I can guarantee, more or less guarantee, that if you do this, the way you feel, it will change you as a human being. And it's never too late. You could be 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, regardless of your age.
Hmm.
I have started to do this, coach my dad on this. We've spoken about this a couple of times. I'm starting to introduce this slowly to the rest of my family,
Hmm.
because it is a change, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you've been doing something for 14, 15, 20, 40 years,
Hmm.
uh, and you haven't realized, because for most people, the body doesn't really talk to you the way it talks to people who've got ulcerative colitis. We just don't believe in listening to it,
Yeah.
right? And the other thing that I've learned is that your body is always talking to you. Like you've coached me for the last 6 months. You've got to be able to listen to yourself, and it always keeps talking to you.
Hmm.
If you don't listen, you will go down the path where and you'll have to go through that recovery and everything. So that, and the other important thing is that it's a self-healing mechanism. That's
Yeah.
how we've been made.
Yeah.
So you just have to have time and patience. That's all you need. You don't need money. You need time and patience and rest and sleep.
Yeah.
And so getting into this program, I'm sure anybody who gets into this program, Shukul, is nervous, anxious, and somewhere deep inside excited as well, because I've seen a few of those testimonies, and it's again one of those things that, hey, it's happened with him. I don't think it's going to happen with me.
Hmm.
you know, until you go through it, right?
Yeah. So.
And so when I joined the program and you introduced this healing diet, I just jumped into it. Maybe it was not the right thing to do, but I was so desperate. I wanted to do it. And so I jumped into it. I quit whatever you told me to quit. Uh, and I think one of the more important things that you did for me was to introduce me to a chart where I could keep a track of my intake.
Hmm.
Uh, I think that's extremely important, which you don't have access to, you don't have guidance to if you're not in a program,
Hmm.
right? So if
Yeah.
I was not doing this, I would probably not be looking after myself the way I did when I was in this program. So I think that was important for me to be able to tell myself the calorie intake, the type of food that I'm eating, when I'm eating it, the quantities that I was eating, so I could keep a track of whether I was improving or the situation was going down.
Hmm.
And of course, I think the first 3 or 4 weeks is hell.
Hmm.
Um, I can say that
Yeah, so
now.
talk about that because when we teach you about self-healing and how the body recovers, you talk about that. But when, in theory everything sounds great, you change your diet and you eat healthier and you know yeah, everything should be good, right? But you have to
Yeah.
actually clean your body and the only way it happens is physically. So talk talk
Right.
talk about that
Right.
and how important that kind of struggle is to get to where you want to get to.
Absolutely. I think uh, it's a learning experience. It is. See, first of all, I didn't believe that there was such a thing as detoxifying your body. And the reason I did not believe there was something like this was because whatever I had done for the last 40, 42 years, was something that I believed was okay. I wasn't doing really something which was bad. So when we discussed this, and you told me that the concept of detoxifying and getting everything out of your system before you could actually come back stronger, when you join the program, acceptance of the concept is extremely important. And I struggled with that, but I was desperate, so I did it. And the fact is that when you start to detox, your body in the first few weeks itself will start getting rid of the mucus and whatnot. I don't even know what not. Yeah, but you go down that path, and it becomes scary. Uh, and all those memories start coming back to you. And your family is there with you, and they want to be able to feel what you're going through, but I can assure you, uh, they can't ever, right? And the pain comes back, the sense of urgency increases, uh, and there is blood in the stool. There's no doubt on that. There's a lot of mucus, and you lose weight. Your appetite gets killed, and you're not on medication, right? So you're confused that am I really doing the right thing? Because now you're on this supposedly pure diet where you're giving yourself the best type of food that you have access to. However, the situation is only getting worse, right? I mean, you're not improving, you're losing weight. And I'll tell you one more thing at this point in time, that before, in our first consultation, you had explained to me how my body would change over the next 6 months. And you were right. You were right to the last T. Honestly, I couldn't believe myself after the program finished that you were so accurate, that the information is so bloody accurate. But you're struggling in the first few weeks, and you want to give up. That's when it helps to call you back and say, hey, am I really, is this, am I okay? Am I going to die in this program? Because I was 82 when I started the program in terms of weight, 82 kilos. And my weight, I don't want to even recall those days now, Shukul, but February, March, and maybe half of April of this year to 2017, I was losing a kilo of weight every 2 days. And my wardrobe changed. I had a different wardrobe in Feb, a different one in March, and a different one in April. Uh, and I came down to 60 from 82. And I was skinny, and I wish I could take off my t-shirt right now and show you. But I was skinny, weak. Uh, I did not have the energy to get out of bed and walk properly. And it's a scary situation. And you keep getting these vibes that keep making you go on and on, because somewhere deep inside you really know that this is the right thing to do, even though you're scared, which I was petrified in between. When I was 60, I was talking to my dad all the time, and he was getting worried too. I have never weighed 60 kilos, for a very long time. I think in the last 20 years, I never went down that low, even though when I was really sick in between. But I believed in it. I don't know why, but it felt that it was the right thing to do. And if I did not have the program, I can tell you I would have quit in the first 2 weeks. It's so important to be able to go back to someone who has seen people go down this path and have seen them be okay, guided them when they really needed that help, and and gave them that confidence, because uh, it's not easy. So if anybody who's seeing this video and thinks that it's going to be easy, it's not going to be easy. But I can tell you, when you get out of this damn thing, you wish you had done this the next day somebody told you you had ulcerative colitis.
Yeah.
Because you have saved all of those years of suffering, right?